why that's not the case.
Well, there are several aspects to that. First of all, what is performed by the local water agencies and regional water agencies in terms of their portfolio of resources and the programs that they put in place to incentivize conservation or make investment in recycling really resides on their side of the ledger. It's their responsibility. Our role in this project and in this process is to treat water and provide it at our delivery point to the local water agencies, and so it would represent a part of their larger water resource plans.
Got it. And so if I can interpret that, which was a great answer, is you're providing gas at 29 cents a gallon, and whether people decide to drive a lot, it's not. I mean, you're the water supplier, and it's up to the districts to put the conservation measures in place as to the regional water districts and the PUC. Is that
that's an accurate representation.
And finally, to what size is the plant designed to be expanded?
Pardon me?
Is the plant? Let me just I'm assuming that the plant is designed to be expanded. Is that correct or incorrect?
That is correct. We have it has the capacities that are. Pardon? It is designed not to be expanded. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Good. That's it.
Let me be clear here, because obviously I misunderstood.
Well, either expanded.
The facility is designed for 54 million gallons per day in total capacity without any capability for expansion.
Great. And I have just one question for Mr. Sabur, if you can. Thank you so much. You've been very patient. All right. I thought when I took ex parte, and correct me if I misheard, was when I asked whether the applicant would come back to the commission when the power plant stops in 2010, can you remind me what you represented, or I just don't want to put words in your mouth?
Well, I think what we said was that if the power plant does cease operations, it's likely that there would be physical modifications that would be required, which would be considered development under the Coastal Act. And to the extent that's the case, we would need to come back to the commission.
Right. So if that occurs in 2010, you'd be back to the commission if you had to physically modify the intake.
That's right.
But since we don't have that power plant contract, we don't know whether it says that plant will end in 2010 or what the economics are, et cetera. Right? So that's a critical piece of information we're missing, or what you call financial arrangements.
Mr. Blank, with respect to the lease provisions and our ability to use the infrastructure with the power plant, my name is Peter McLagan, Poseidon Resources. It contemplates that if the power plant's not operating, the power plant has the ability to operate the cooling water pumps for our purposes. To the extent that the cooling water pumps continue to be available, we can continue to use them in that mode. Should they make some business decision to eliminate that system, then we need to go back and modify the system so we can continue to operate. That would cause us to also need to go back to the City of Carlsbad, go through a land use process, CEQA compliance, come back to the Coastal Commission with Coastal Act compliance, a subsequent coastal development permit.
Okay. That was helpful. Thank you. Yes.
In your lifetime, ever heard of a power plant shutting down?
Yeah.
Within the last decade? Because let me tell you, I've only been on South
Humboldt
Coast
County?
Well, I'm talking about where people live, big population. Okay?
No. I think Commissioner Neely would take exception to that.
Sorry, Bonnie, didn't mean it. In South Coast, we are always struggling to get power plants to shut down. But rather than shut down, they'll update their technology to meet the current requirements so they can keep generating power. The chance of a power plant shutting down in San Diego, unless there's a catastrophe, I think is...
So, Commissioner Burke, I think that maybe makes my point in that if the plant never shuts down, then there is no coming back to the Commission for redoing the intakes. And I'm almost done if I can, Commissioner Burke. As I said, I'm looking to support this thing. Given the performance in Tampa, I'd want some stronger performance bond language. I think the applicant's request for items 8 and 10 just kind of leave me a little cold about my authority as a coastal commissioner. And as I said, I'm trying real hard to like this. So those are kind of my comments, and I'd like to see where this goes with the rest of the commission. So thank you for indulging me, and I'm sorry I exceeded Ben Wazo's time.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me first state that I will not take the amount of time that my colleagues have taken, although I don't critique it because